But I still think that we are DreamPop, but simply we are going in a different direction that hasn't been seen by the mainstream people.
Like as you worked, it was like exponential, and it brought Elias and I in to make it bigger.
Say like I personally think that like we've grown a lot as like musician wise and like composition wise.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Today you're joining me with AnotherMay. AnotherMay is a Spanish dream pop band here in San Jose, California. So when I came across you guys and I started listening to music, like, oh, I probably like indie or something. But when I saw dream pop, like, oh, that's new to me. But it's a whole genre, obviously. But how would you guys actually describe what dream pop is?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Chris, I want to thank you for having us on your wonderful podcast here. It's an honor to be here. We want to thank you for all the coverage that you've given to the local artists. And we think you're doing great things. But yeah, to answer your question, Brett and I were actually talking about this yesterday. We were just trying to see what is our genre. And I think it bounced off to like, we have different backgrounds in music. And because of that, when we attempted to make a dream pop sound, we created something that isn't your, like top shelf, like kind of stereotypical dream pop, like Claro and stuff like that, Mm-hmm. But I still think that we are dream pop, but simply we are going in a different direction that hasn't been seen by the mainstream people.
Yeah, I feel like it's like kind of like more like a combination of like indie pop and dream pop rather than just being dream pop, because like I don't know, like when people classify themselves as just dream pop, there's definitely like it's definitely more in kind of like electronic direction, I feel, when people only classify themselves as dream pop.
Right. What do you classify us as, Chris?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like I would say like indie, but like that whole, so like my my background, right, is in like more metal, and even then that's limited. And I had buddies that I could already, like, I have a roommate that's like, oh dude, you totally like this band, like this is totally what you listen to. But like I said, like that's a whole nother world that I'm just not familiar with. That's all. Oh, so you're like indie or dream pop? What dream pop? What's that? But you mentioned, so you're saying like, oh, usually people think dream pop, they think like electronic. So when you mentioned you're trying to go in another direction, was like purposely not having anything electronic in it? Is that part of the formula on purpose, or is it more we're trying to differentiate ourselves?
I mean, like our music does kind of have electronic elements because a lot of our songs tend to have like synthesizers in it.
Okay.
But like in regards to that, like when we like make music, we're not trying to like copy someone else. We're just like make what we want to make, and we're just like, what does this sound like? Okay, I guess it sounds like dream pop, indie pop.
Mm-hmm. So like with San Jose, so like, again, thank you for the shout out, right? A lot of the bands I feel like I've been running to in San Jose, and it's probably just because of what I'm interviewing, is a lot of like hardcore bands. Apparently that's like the big thing in the Bay Area. What made you guys go this route versus making your own hardcore band and just falling into that trend?
Sure. Brett, you have experience with hardcore bands, right?
I mean, I've always wanted to be kind of like part of a hardcore band, like a power violence band. Actually, I'm wearing a power violence shirt right now for this band from Boston. They're called Goo Lagoon. Power violence, bro. Yeah, I mean, I felt like that just wasn't who we are at that point. This image we have for the band just doesn't feel like hardcore.
Yeah.
And actually, we can expand on that a little more and tell you more about like how we actually started as a band, and maybe that could give you some more insight.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That'd be good.
Sure. So I'll just go way back. I actually met Brett sometime in 2016, around there. We knew each other in high school, but we never connected until I went to one.
Very odd, though.
Yeah, that's true. I went to one of his house shows because Brett was a part of like a whole system or organization where there was a bunch of like garage punk and like bunch of cool bands, stuff like that, and like it was badass. But then one day in 2017, I came to him and I just finished. I got out of like a toxic friendship, and I was like, "Hey Brett, can you help me write some songs? Because I feel like a song would be a nice gesture to apologize to someone if you created a good song." He's like, "Sure," and we were trying to write a song. We wrote a song, and we, at the moment, only had a bass and a guitar. But the thing is that at the time, I started really listening to Gus Dapperton. And I don't know if you know Gus Dapperton, but he's basically like the face of like bedroom pop, or at that time he was. And I was also listening to Rex Orange County and stuff like that. All the stuff that's like indie trash, But like after we listened to that, I was just like, let's do something like that. And I think from that point, we kind of distanced ourselves away from the style of like a power violence band. But we felt like that's okay, right? Because I feel like there's enough diversity in that genre already, and we were like, let's do something that we haven't seen before. And we didn't see anybody singing in Spanish here in the Bay Area in regards to like DreamPop and stuff like that. So yeah, the rest is history, man.
Yeah. So then how did like Elias and Billy and Brad like eventually come to join all this?
So I remember I think we were recording for the first EP. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marta, but I think we were recording for the first EP. We have we've basically had a bunch of our friends come in do like the backup vocals, and so we had Brad come in, and he's like, "Yo, this is pretty swagger. This is pretty swagger." So I think like that was there where we asked like, "Hey, do you want to do drums for this?"
No, I think at the time I remember because you were actually recording with Conserve, and you showed me the track that you and Eduardo were working on. I think it was like a prototype of Ojos Desgastados.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, man, this is really cool. And you're like, yeah, I'm glad you said that. Do you want to play drums? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like I was like, hell yeah, man, that's tight.
And yeah, that's basically what happened, right? It started off as us two, and then Brad joined.
And then for like this new EP, like we wanted to like, because like, we felt like kind of constricted with just a 3-piece, so we wanted to bring in like a keyboardist and a lead guitarist. So that's when we brought in Elias and Billy. Like I've worked with, Elias has been part of Peachy for like a long time, so like just invited him, and then Billy with the jazzy guitar, so we just invited him as well.
Second base, I think you mean.
Yeah, second base player.
It was, well, Brett hit me up. Hey man, we need a. So I was a huge fan of AnotherMay from the first record, and Brett hit me up like, hey, we need a keyboard player. You know anybody? I was like, get me in there. I'll play keys on bass, because I was into that tapping thing at the time.
Okay.
I was like, get me in there. And he's like, nah, fuck off, Billy. You can't do that. But then they need a guitar player, and I'm like, bass guitar. So I show up at the first rehearsal with the bass, and then AnotherMay teaches me how to play guitar, and now I'm a guitar player.
Wait,
You
what?
sound great on the
You came in
record,
with the
too.
intention of playing bass, and you're like, no, you can use this one. You're like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I had a big ass 6-string bass, and for the first couple shows, I would play the 6-string bass and just like shred all the lead lines on there.
Like every rehearsal, Billy brought a different fucking instrument to rehearse. One time it was electric guitar, one time it was a bass, and one time
it was an acoustic running through an electric.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it
upright on the
first
album?
show? Wasn't it our first show? Didn't we actually play with like 2 basses too?
Yeah, it was sick. That was dope.
Yeah, it was a sight to see for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Billy said, he plays the upright bass in our new album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's definitely we definitely expanded, but it's safe to note that we did have 2 other members. That one of our bandmates, Desiree, she helped us make the first album. She was the second lead guitarist, and on that same track as well, one of our mutual friends, Ian, he helped us out with the solo, and he also helped us out with some ideas for strumming. So there are 2 other members, but at the moment this is the band, and it's been quite a journey since then.
So yeah, that's a good segue, right? I saw you guys did like the Tiny Desk video. I think you did have Desiree in there still. Was that like to like say, hey, you're still part of this, even though it's kind of like us now?
Yeah, I mean, like, cause like she's still in the band chat on Messenger, and then like we're just like, you know what, fuck it, Desiree, get in here. Why the fuck not?
I think it also worked well because like there was it was like an odd number.
Yeah, five screens.
Yeah, 5 screens. So it's like something else to add in to kind of round it out a little bit too.
Yeah.
And like we're all still great friends with her, and with Ian. So we realized that since there was like no bad blood or anything, it's fine. Like you can totally still hang out with him.
Yeah, dude, it's all Gucci.
Yeah, of course.
So whatever happened with that, by the way? Did Tiny Desk ever like, did you guys ever get featured, or did it ever get called out, or like you submitted it and then that was it?
Yeah, we won. We actually won.
Wait, really?
No.
Oh,
Oh no.
I didn't see you on YouTube. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think they announced the winner yet, but I don't think we are gonna win.
Yeah.
They just sent an email saying like, oh, your video qualifies for the contest. You're on the contest, and then we just never heard anything back.
Yeah.
Regardless, it was super fun making and just like putting something out there especially during quarantine. Something that's like, you know, virtual and stuff like that. That was really awesome.
Dude, I remember you having like issues with your like camera though.
Yeah, there's like, you know, there's a lot of technical stuff like the tearing between the music and audio, or the video and audio, but it worked out.
Yeah. Fun fact, if I can put you on the spot real quick, the first clip of Elias going to the keyboard and snapping, that was recorded after the video had already been put together, and we realized that his footage wasn't like, it's just something was wrong. So he did that on the first try, and it just kind of proves that he is an extremely talented keyboard player. And best keyboard
Yeah, putting me on the spot, huh?
Yeah, put me on the spot.
They're just like, thanks, man.
Yeah, it was cool though. I have been checking. They do this thing like NPR Top Shelf, which is since this whole like world has been shut down. They've gone through specific editors for NPR, go through all the submissions, and they're like, here are my top 4 favorite, here are my top 3. And like, you know, I've low key been seeing every single one of them to see if I can find ourselves, but you know, there's still hope. There's one more. Who knows, right? It was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you got like the last thing, like you still made your own piece of content out of it, and like that's still gonna be a music video for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
5 years from now, you know.
Mhm.
Exactly, and that's the thing. When we first started, we only had we kind of struggled to bring out content, right? Because when we first released our first album, we only had those videos of each song, but even then, it was just like a still image. And even then, I remember there was an emphasis to have no covers in this new album because our last album was just trying to get by with a few covers from like Latin American songs that we liked, in addition to some other songs. But
And Jack Stauber, bro.
yeah, man, we kind of like we wanted to add more to our image, and that's what we did. So it's cool.
So on my note of like, oh sorry.
Oh no, nothing. Like this one came out, and it started off with like 3 songs, and then now we have songs 1 through 5, and then these 3 songs, and it's just Brett and Ed were just writing for this out like non-stop. That was crazy.
I think we even had to shelf a song or 2, right? We're like, oh, that actually would
Yeah, we had to
another
shelf the
one.
song for the next release.
Oh shit! So you guys are already like, we wrote so much, like, hey, we can't fit it all.
We've got the next album in the works.
Well,
Yeah,
if I may, you know, can I disclose this about how initially there was 2 projects to be released this year?
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, I mean, from what I was told when I first joined, the plan was to release 2, you know, records.
Okay.
Like I'm pretty sure you guys had covers and then just a regular, and yeah, I mean, I think if it wasn't for COVID, you guys would definitely reach that goal.
Yeah.
The band's really ambitious, and I'd say the effort, or like they just put a lot of energy into this band, and it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to do 2 albums. Like the one we released yesterday, that was like the main one. And then as well as that, we're gonna do a cover of like EPs, like 4 songs. I think one of them was Shiny Teeth and Me by Jett
From Very Loud Parents?
Yeah, very odd.
Did you guys also want to do The Fool Who Ripped His Pants from SpongeBob? We played that actually at a show, right? Did we play that at a show?
Yeah, we played that, and then we also played
Fruit Salad.
Crazy ass solo on that song.
Yeah.
Oh no, you did it on Fruit Salad.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's all great.
Chris, you said you're familiar with a bunch of rock bands. Are you really metal if you've never moshed Fruit Salad, man? I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, like, you can, I don't know. Well, so I feel like when back in high school, it's years ago, right? It's this thing where like if you didn't do A, B, C, and D on an ongoing basis, you're a poser, and you're gonna be a poser forever. And just like, dude, chill out, you know.
Damn.
You know, it's like on the shows where like I feel like if you go to more like thrash shows, right? Like you're just kind of moshing. When you go to hardcore shows, people do like karate flips and stuff, and the low key time.
Yeah.
I don't want to get kicked in the jaw, man. Like I don't even care about like fuck off. You know, like that's gonna hurt. But it's also me being soft, right? So I don't know.
For real.
At the
Wait,
day-
Have you ever been to a Thrasher show if you've never seen an ambulance pull up halfway through the show?
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, I never actually seen one. Like even when I see people like straight, like there's a Tsunami video where this dude gets punched in the jaw and like falls to the floor, like he knocks out, and he gets up and like low key, like that's kind of like if you're that guy, that's gotta be scary in the moment. But I think most people are just like, yeah, man, just walk it off, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Like I see people bloody and just like laughing about it. I'm like, yeah, duh. Like I'm not gonna call the ambulance, like pay that bill.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I digress a lot.
Dude, I feel it. It's something out. The mosh pit is an advanced civilization. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, I mean,
like
There's only love. There's only love in the mob.
It really is. Yeah. I
No
would
hate,
say
no love.
the feeling is mutual between everyone in the pit.
Dude, like as soon as like someone falls in the mosh pit, everyone stops what they're doing and just picks that fool up.
And then they pick him up, then push him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
push
yeah.
Like that's not always the case though, and I feel like that's the mark of like a really good mosh pit is someone does fall, like they rush to pick them up, you know, because I've seen that happen where like they just leave them, you know, and I'm like, dang, that's
What
messed up,
mosh pit
dude.
was that, Brad?
Dude, that I've seen that plenty of times at like bigger metal shows. Like when I saw at the drive-in, like
Oh, you
That
saw
kinda
at the drive-in?
happened sometimes.
Sorry, my bad.
I did.
We're going
I
off
did.
topic here, but hell yeah, dude.
You just imagine getting curb stomped while
You
the
think, like-
drive-in is playing in the background.
The crazy thing is like you think like okay at the drive-in has like what like you know like most of their fans are probably like they're older than me, so they're probably like what like 30
Right.
40 and like
Yeah.
it was probably like the worst crowd of like I've ever been to. Like everyone was just like you know like I get it, it's a concert, but this dude was like probably like 300 pounds like just pressing onto my back, and like I'm not a big dude, you know, and I was like, dude, like back up, bro, like it was wild.
Dude, the first time I actually went to a house show with Brett, Brett was moshing with a bunch of other 7-foot tall people, and I actually got scared, so I didn't hop into that mosh pit. But I know your emotions completely. Also,
Ed.
Yeah.
Sorry, what show was it? Who was playing?
I can't remember, but Conserve was playing.
Probably
Yeah.
Peachy. Most likely Peachy was playing.
Yeah, Peachy was
Yeah,
definitely
like 11 p.m.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, my
Christ.
fucking sister had me cut your set shorts.
That was yeah.
And then I
That-
retaliated by like getting the boxing gloves and beating the shit out of everyone in the crowd.
That was an inspired set from being upset that we're like, fuck, we have to play like, and there's no one here. We're just like, fuck this, man.
that did, be like that. That's actually when we played our Oakland show. Low-key, the only people that were there and at the start were just the bands that were performing. But I think that's pretty common. Also, I just want to say for the record, this album, all the production work and the majority of the songwriting was done by Brett. So I just want to give him credit there. Good job, Brett. And also, the lyrics were also written by Brett and myself. So I just want to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Brett has been doing almost, if not all, the production for our band ever since then, ever since we met each other. And he's also been doing it for the other bands that he works with. And like, I think Brett is just like one of the most talented producers in San Jose, and dare I say, in the world. But I just think gotta give him credit.
Dude, you gotta give a shout out to Billy for that amazing fucking bass part and Never
Oh,
Let Go, dude.
Shut the fuck up, dude. No, dude,
Wait, what is
this
it?
album
Like,
wouldn't have been possible without you. You could do everything I did with like 3 keys on a MIDI keyboard.
No.
Dude,
Exactly.
Billy. Do you know what Nima from Corduroy say as soon as she heard that part? She just said
Hey, fuck Billy.
Nut Central, bro. That's
right.
what she said.
She did.
Think about it this way. That great bass part would have sucked without auto-tune. And I don't know how to use auto-tune. And you do. So
Sorry, it's called Melodyne.
it's really your bass part, Brett.
Oh, look at Elias, the fancy guy uses Melodyne instead
Yeah,
of
I actually have Ableton Live and
Ableton
PK
Live
audio
free.
interfaces.
I use Reaper, bro.
Chris, get this. Billy, we have a group chat, and we say a bunch of messages and talk between each other. Billy doesn't respond to any of the messages, yet he shows up to practice in 5 tries. He just lays down the sickest bass solo you ever heard in your life, and just like that, he's gone again. It's crazy.
No, dude, yeah, we he like pulls up. I'm like, Billy, like, I'm like texting the boy, like, Billy, can you come over? I need you to record this guitar solo. It's like, okay. And he doesn't know. He doesn't like. I don't tell him what song it is. He just shows up. Like, what are we doing? Okay, what are the chords? Okay, cool. Fucking 5 minutes later, just got some swagalicious, extra vicious ass fucking guitar solo.
That's what
I
happened.
think you should tell him about like how he showed up to the gigs, you know, and just like like, wait, what are the songs? Oh yeah, all right, give me 5 minutes. Like,
We played a basement show in downtown San Jose that was it was run by Frank. I forgot his last name. But he was
Yeah,
we're all we
Frank.
get what's up?
I said, thanks, Frank.
Yeah, thank you,
I don't
Frank.
know your last name. Frank from downtown San Jose.
Frank from downtown.
Shout out to
Shout out Frank. Yo, plug the homie Frank.
Bro, he's the real one. He's the homie.
Yeah, man, I miss Frank. Rest in peace. But the thing about Frank is that he showed up. We were all there. Billy pulls up. He has a notebook in his hand. He's like, "Hey, okay, what are the chords for H? Okay, what are these chords?" I don't even tell him. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he says a bunch of numbers. He figures it out. We go on the show, plays a perfect show. And I didn't even have to tell him any chords.
Yeah, he's like, he probably like fucked up the least amount of times out of all of us.
Speak for yourself, Brett.
Yo, y'all are talking about me like I'm some drunk uncle. Like, yo, Billy shows up. He's just fucking wasted to the game. It's so great. I still have that notebook page. It's like,
Yeah, bro, and it's
talking to me.
notated.
It's like this is our set at Frank's basement show.
It's transcribed to sheet music, dude.
You believe
We're
Yeah, I was gonna say,
we're
pretty
selling
soon,
this at the
I
next
think
album
we're
release.
like, nah, I'll figure it out myself.
Billy, I remember when they like write the songs and they like show you the chords, like, okay, Billy, here are the chords. He like looks at me like, Brett, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Like,
Brett's talking about
major,
minor
like,
6. What the fuck?
like a fucking sharp 11 or some bullshit like that.
No, my brain's not fast, man.
You're like, okay, I'm just gonna make my own chords for this, Brett.
Yeah. One of the first things
That's the
Billy
Billy
told
way.
What's up? Oh, one of the first things Billy told me is like, I can play any chord. It's like,
Bet.
Cool.
yeah. No, everybody's super talented on here. Brad too? Oh my god. Let me tell you
Oh,
something.
Brad locks it in.
Brad, we have these recording sessions at the studio. They
Okay.
take a whole day. It's a whole thing, right? And like, yeah, at the end of the day, Brad's just looking like he hates us, right? But Brad stays on beat, on tempo. He's such a talented drummer. He just nails it every single time. And like, I just
Dude,
too many
I
people.
fucking remember Ellis was there when he did the drums for Los Pinguinos. It's literally, he was so fucking bored. It's just because it's just like a straight beat for fucking 3 minutes.
Mhm.
Dude,
And
it felt
I
like
looked at him like, that was good, but let's do 3 more takes. He looked at me like he's ready to fucking fight me, bro.
Yeah, Brad's definitely a marathon drummer. I'll tell you that much. No matter
I
how
swear,
sweaty he
like-
gets, dude, he'll keep it on. You know.
I swear, that was like the longest recording of my life. I felt like it was like 3 minutes, but I swear to God, it felt like 3 minutes.
Oh, dude.
You're just like complaining like, man, fuck this band, bro.
I'm over this, dude. I didn't know I signed up for this. Like,
Just wait till we have to play that live, bro.
yeah.
That's
I'm,
another thing too.
It's gonna be fun.
That's our thing, Chris. We don't know any of these songs live.
Yeah.
But I will say this much: I'm very much excited for when everything goes back to normal, or close to that, performing in front of people again, because that's something I think all 5 of us really miss. I think it's something all 5 of us really enjoy, and especially with all these new songs, I think that'll give us like a whole new field of emotions when we go back to performing, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. And Chris, better see you there. You're invited to all our shows. Go get in for free.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We got you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll totally be there. Once everything obviously opens back up. That's cool, and I appreciate that. Well, so on that note, right, I think kind of like opening back up and not opening back up. How does it feel for you guys to release the self-titled album, kind of just online, and like watching that kind of explode, even though you can't really play it for anyone? Does that make sense?
We got a boombox.
That's true.
We just drive around with that shit.
At least from my perspective, and I think each of us can talk about our perspective, I felt like it was fine because our first release was more or less online as well. and we
I
didn't
was,
really,
I was in Ohio when we dropped the last release,
yeah.
so we couldn't like do it online or in person.
So like it was really fine, but it was really nice to see the difference in react and like response from all of the people that have had an opportunity to listen to our music, because a lot of people that follow us, they just love our music and they love our message, and it was really nice to just receive those messages when we dropped the album.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it dropped when people were telling me like, "Yo, that was a great album," and then we're like, "Brett, I thought we were gonna drop it on Friday," and he said, "Well, yeah, but it's on Eastern Standard Time, so that means that it's out at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time." And we're like, "Okay, Brett, thank you for telling us that." But it was great. Honestly, in my eyes, it's fine. It would be, obviously better if we could do it in person, but
I can tell like people like this album a lot more because I remember with the previous release, like we asked them like, "Oh, how you think of it?" They're like, "Yeah, I like it, but I just have to be in a certain mood to like it."
yep,
Yeah.
I feel that as well.
But with this one, like I don't know, people just seem to overall just really like the album. I haven't heard
I don't
any
know.
constructive criticism yet.
And
I
you
don't know. I
said,
think personally, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say like, and you said this is the album where you guys are just like all originals, right? Where I think Sarah's Room was more covers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all originals.
Brad?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I personally think that, like, like we've grown a lot as like musician wise and like composition wise,
Mhm.
and I think that like this definitely opened like our audiences because it's much more like cohesive and like it has like an actual message to it. And I think like for that reason, I feel like it's almost kind of a good thing that it's a kind of an online release only, because like that just builds up people who are going to listen to it and followers, so that when we do open up shows again, we have this like already standing group of people that like listen to the music.
Mm-hmm.
And like know all the lyrics.
Yeah, that's true.
So like 2 minutes ago, you guys spent the past 5 minutes just like pushing each other up in a good way, right? It's not a bad thing. Good chemistry. Did you guys have all that when you were doing Sarah's Room? Or is it something that came a little bit after, and now that you came into Another May self-titled, that's why it's so much better because you guys had more time to kind of click?
Well, if I can speak as a member, or as like from not being in the band at the time, I was aware of Another May at the time. I was more familiar with Brett's other projects and also Brad's other band that he's in, Conserve. So I knew of the song, and I thought the band was like, honestly, I thought the band was okay. I was like, okay, like yeah, like I really like H, that's a vibe, and I was just like, I don't know about the band though. But I think upon joining it and getting to know everyone, I was like, damn, these guys are actually really, like these guys are like really great. And like I was familiar with Brett and Brad beforehand, and like I had an idea of like their musicianship and like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once you actually get into playing in the band, you start to realize like, okay, this is totally different. Like what I initially thought is like totally different. And I think a lot of that was just like I didn't really know Ed, honestly. Like I had no idea. I've never met Ed. I've never seen him play guitar or anything like that. So I think just getting to know each other definitely like kind of helps that, and playing together too. Also just hearing ideas and also just this release too kind of helps put in like an image, or like it gives me an idea of what like the musicianship is like across the board really.
Did I bring up Joan Jett?
Don't start, dude. Don't start.
Don't start. Okay. So I felt the same thing as Elias, except I was a big fan of the music. I heard this music, and I don't know, Chris, if you've seen the Sarah's Room EP drop, but freaking the 31 Minutos and like the fight scene during Mañana No Sé, like Brett's bass line, hella got me. Elias's lyrics, hella got me. And
what?
The 31 Minutos, I was
my lyrics?
Man, what?
You said my lyrics.
Oh, I
You
said
said
Elias.
Elias's
No, I
lyrics,
meant
yeah.
Eduardo.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you, Elias? Get out of here. But so when we started as this 5-piece, half of our bass players and half of our guitar players were fervently against songs like Fruit Salad and like all these covers like My Shiny Tea. I'm not gonna say which half, but it
was you.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. But I mean, when it starts off and you're joining for me, coming from like being a working bass player and just like every night I'm with a different band and I'm taking off like paid gigs to join this band and see how it goes. I've been in other bands where certain 924 Gilman bands that are just like goofing around. They're just teenagers goofing around in a garage. But then the more I worked with AnotherMay, the more serious they kind of became. And this project kind of exposed itself, and these guys' work ethic exposed itself. So like as a work ethic thing, like first impression is like, oh, these guys are fucking memeing all the time. This isn't a serious band. But then like as you work, it was like exponential, you know, and it brought Elias and I in to make it bigger. And then on a personal level, I remember one moment, like we played a show at UC Santa Cruz. It was my second show with these bands, and it was so fun. And some of my friends showed up, and they really liked the music. And on the way back, I don't even know how it started. We were at UC Santa Cruz, and we weren't even off the campus yet. And Brett makes a passing comment about how he likes Joan Jett or something like that. And it's Elias, Brad, and I in the car. None of us like Joan Jett. We spent the whole hour and something.
I didn't even know who the hell Joan Jett was until I looked her up.
Yeah, me and Billy spent like the whole way, like from highway, like the whole
Highway
hour,
17, bro.
straight hour nonstop.
I've never heard anyone be roasted as long as Joan Jett in this car. It was legit an hour of roasting Joan Jett. It is an achievement for sure.
not even an hour like broken up either, but like a consistent hour of just being
that
hard
was the
roasted.
topic in the car on the way home. That's it.
Like my throat hurt and like my chest hurt just because I was like laughing so consistently. It was like a workout, honestly.
We really united right there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know, with the work ethic and with just being friends, this album was so much easier, you know?
You guys really don't like Joan Jett? I mean, I don't want to do the Santa Cruz thing.
Hey, man, don't get us started. We'll cut you.
Are we about to start beef with Joan Jett right now?
We'll come for you.
Well, okay, well, before I cut that bomb off, right, let's run away from it. Well, so one thing I was curious is, so what is AnotherMay stand for, like, name-wise? Like, where did that name come from? Is it just like another month? Or is it like...
That's actually a good point that you made, because initially Brent and I were trying to figure out what to name this band, and I recommended Another June because I was thinking, okay, well, like we can make it sound just like, oh, it's another June, another year has passed by. Wow, that was really fast. Like, oh, time passes by, we're all gonna die soon, right?
Okay.
And then Brett proposed Another May. And we're just like, okay, like, you want to explain more of it, Brett?
Yeah, so I thought like it'd be good because it'll be like double meaning, like another May as in like another year has passed, and then also like another May, like another May come, another May arrive, like stuff like that. So it just kind of like has double meaning to it.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And that's basically what it was.
Yeah, I was just curious, like, I hopefully I'm not like reading it the wrong way, but I want to make sure like this have understandable, like.
I mean, also May's like a good month, right? Like.
Brett's birthday is
like May's cool. Like school's out, bro. You know?
School's out.
Like school's usually ending right then. I mean, it's finals, but it's still ending, right? I don't know.
Well, so we figured out who May was, or in this case, what May was. Who Sarah in Sarah's room?
Oh, so Sarah's actually my sister, and we called it. I'm actually in her room right now. So
bro, get out.
The reason we called it that is because my sister like moved out and she had this empty bedroom. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn this into a studio. So basically, we recorded like 90% of that EP in this room, and like excluding like the drums, but everything else is just in here. So like, what do we name it? I was just like, fuck it, Sarah's room. And I don't even think my sister's even heard that EP. I sent it to her, and I was like, hey, did you listen? She's like, no.
Wait, so like so behind you have this kind of.
Yeah, I got like acoustic treatment and all that. There's like the mic right there behind that like glare, cinema glare.
So is that what like the shower curtain looking thing on the album cover is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this blanket right here. It's like it's my makeshift vocal booth. Bam. vocal booth ready to go.
And the LED lights let you know that it's a studio. You
Oh
know?
yeah,
'cause-
dude.
Yeah.
Bro, it's not a studio if you don't have LED lights.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, like I saw, like I wonder. I mean, obviously, remember there's a shark in there. I wonder if that's something else. Let me ask about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's definitely looking back. I would have designed that album cover differently.
Me too. I was the one that was in charge of actually.
I remember like when we were supposed to do a show with Andy's Problems, and he like Matt Dresden ripped our like logo from that cover, and he's like, "Man, this logo looks like fucking Idaho, man." What the fuck?
That's cool. Well, so like Laura, maybe you'll be the one to answer this, right? Like that cover has like, I don't know if it's like the jazzy '60s vibe to it, just kind of the way the floor is set up. But then you have like the Concha T-shirt that's like also has that jazzy '60s vibe too, because like it has to blend into that circle. How did you guys come up with that in general? Like just that design? Was that you? Did you hire someone? Like how did that?
Right. So in terms of the Sarah's room design, that one was all me. It's actually how I met Brett. I started doing graphic design work for Paper House Records, and then it kind of all came full circle when we started this band. We're like, we need to make stuff, and I was like, bro, it's fine. I'll just make it for you, you know. And like, I gotta admit, Chris, probably should have paid somebody to do Sarah's room's cover, but it is what it is.
Dude, it is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah. But yeah, that was that. As for the Concha design, do you like it? Yeah.
All right, it's the right one. Oh no, I think it's cool. I think it's like unique. Like I kind of wanted a pin just because like that's different. But I'm also like not an accessories guy. Yeah, no. But to answer the question directly, yeah, it's a cool little shirt. That's to me, that's different.
Yeah, well, we're glad you like it. I was in charge of making that one. I got the idea because one day I was with my friends and they have a Concha sticker on their laptop. It was at UC Santa Cruz, and then I came here and I told Brett, I was like, look, Brett, we need to make a Concha design like right now. And then he was like, okay, sure, yeah. How do we do it, you know? So I went to the store, right? And
I bought a Concha.
Yeah.
And I ate it.
Yeah. It was just we just bought a Concha, took a picture of it, and then like 48 hours later we brought the design. I actually brought some pan dulce for you, Chris. Here you go. This is for you. Go ahead and just hold on to that.
Your mouth.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was that, and it ended up turning out much better than expected. I think all of us here have, in some way, had pan dulce or grown up with it. So you're just like, let's just do it. And we wanted to kind of also push out the idea that like, hey, we're also like, we're kind of like a Mexican and a Spanish DreamPop band too. Like, here's a little bit of our culture and stuff. And what better way to display it than a Concha, you know?
Yeah, like if I don't know if you guys have like a set logo, but I feel like as like a logo itself, like that would fit you guys. Again, it's like it's the Concha sign, which is like just the core essence of it. But the fact that like the wording is all kind of bubbly and into it, like that's dreamy, right? That's cool. It's like, oh, that's a perfect unison of like what you're trying to do.
Yeah, we actually.
Why I made it a point to ask the question about it.
No worries. We actually have a main logo as well, and we can. I can show you what it looks like real quick. But the idea behind our main logo is the first definition of AnotherMay, which is like what, like the month May, and also like what do you do during the month May? Another year passes and stuff like that. Let me bring it up for you real quick.
There, go for it. I think you should be able to screen share.
I swear, if you just screen sharing a picture of that like hand gesture shows up, I'm gonna fight you, Eduardo.
Oh shit.
Did he freeze?
Yo, did we lose Eduardo?
He's gone.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, he's frozen. Is this a prank, bro?
You just let me show it to you and did.
Maybe he's just standing really still. He's got a good poker face.
Hardcore stand. Like even look at his eyes are just like hardcore. I think it's hard to do.
Someone call Guinness right now. We got.
I'll try it too.
Rest in peace, Eduardo's camera.
Shows these. Wait for this guy. Do we just move on?
Oh man, he's gone.
Oh,
Oh wait, he's back.
Oh, he's right there.
All right, well,
Hey!
I'm not going to show you the logo anymore because I feel like that's going to crash my computer. But
No worries.
yeah, you can check it out on our Instagram at AnotherMaySJ.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's that.
No, I appreciate that. Okay. So going kind of hard left, how did the collaboration with Corduroy come about?
Oh man, it was amazing. At first, we wrote "You Can Tell Me," and Brett and I were looking into the second verse, and we realized that hmm, Brad proposed the idea of the song, and the idea kind of was like the idea of the two partners. One partner was like, "Hey, I'm having a great time. I've known you for a while, but I just want to let you know, like, if you're not having a good time, you can tell me."
Mhm.
And then there was another partner as well, and they'd be like, "I'm having a great time as well, and like, I've just always been having a great time. But if you don't have a great time, like, you can tell me." So we were just like, I think the best thing would be to get somebody else to sing it, and we were bouncing off a few ideas here and there, but it finally came down to Corduroy, and their very talented singer, Nima. Brett, do you want to talk a little bit about how you met Nima at Twin Shrieks?
Yeah, so first I found Corduroy through Twin Shrieks where Conserve played. Shout out Twin Peaks, bro. And I was just like when I was just like watching, I was like, yo, holy shit, this she has a good ass fucking voice, bro. I swear she got Elsa voice, bro. So like when like we're proposing getting like a female singer for that part, like I instantly thought like, yo, Corduroy. So like I hit up Nima, and then like she was just like instantly like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So we met
Can I,
up.
can I
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I was gonna say, I remember when Brett like originally asked me, he was like, "Hey, we're thinking about getting Nima from Corduroy to like feature on the track," and he showed me some like clips of her singing, and I was like, "Man, I was like, if we do, we really need to step up our game because she's gonna make us sound like shit, dude."
Yeah,
Like,
she definitely like trash.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Nah,
bro, that,
bro, I
that
remember
synth
like
solo.
I remember fucking when we like fucking got her to record, fucking she just like did the first take and then like dude, she was godly, bro. Me and Eduardo just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And then I remember Brad came over later, and then he was just in the corner listening back to like the takes we did. And I swear that fool was you were about to cry, Brad. You were
Bro, I was. Yeah, there was like legit tears in my there's like my eyes were watering, man. And I was like, whew, this is a lot.
Yeah, I was sitting next to Brad, right? So from my perspective, Brad was sideways like this. He's just like, yeah, it's good. No, it's really good. It's good.
He's just like,
Seriously. So
I tried to get Brett to cut my solo from that song. There was like this long ass guitar solo, and I was like, Brett, you got to cut my solo. Like, I can't. Eduardo and Nima are just singing, and it's like, this is a working, man. This is a working out.
They're revealing the whole song.
Yeah.
but we put it in.
Yeah, I guess it's in there, man. Don't worry about it.
it's in there. I
I
left
want
it.
to plug it. I want to plug it as my favorite song off the record.
Oh, really?
What is it?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
You're
this
welcome.
one.
No, I'm
You're
kidding.
welcome. You're wow. You can tell me. I was gonna say it's "You're Welcome" is the song. No. Yeah, you can tell me. My favorite song. I don't even know the song names.
That's okay, man.
Uh,
Yeah, and then working on the music video with her.
Oh, you're doing video too?
No.
Oh.
What?
What the fuck is your
You guys should totally. Well, I don't know if there's a guy named Weapon Rex. Actually, I interviewed him a while ago. He has really cool videos, but his are more like horror movie-esque. But I was like, I don't know if you guys can somehow bridge that together. But he's dope. A lot of his stuff is like death metal bands, right? But he's local in San Jose too. That's why it's like, oh, maybe you guys want to experiment. But plug, shout out Weapon Rex.
Yeah, we actually have like we're working on 3 music videos right now. We're working on 2 and then one's on the back burner because we can't shoot because of COVID. Because that involves us being exposed to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're probably gonna drop the music video of Corduroy sometime next week.
Okay.
And then we also have one for a song Por Los Hombres. And Eduardo, do you want to talk about that video?
Yeah. So that's one of the more serious tracks on our new album.
Okay.
It reflects on kind of like a set. It starts off by talking about well, instead of getting into the whole song, it just talks about machismo in Latin culture, and also how there aren't many opportunities where young men can learn about the negative side of it and its consequences. So we decided to write a song about it, and if any, the goal is to at least help one person and help them understand that machismo, although it's ingrained in some Latin societies, just ain't it.
Like how to treat women properly and not be abusive.
Or at least start the conversation and think about like, hey, like you gotta think about feelings and stuff like that.
Are you guys hip to or yeah, I don't know. I don't know a way to say this without saying names, but after writing the song, a friend of mine, I don't know if you guys were homies with him, but just like a big member of the San Jose music scene, like gigging once a week at least, was outed as an abuser, and he admitted to it, and it was just super depressing. But I thought the Para Los Hombres kind of song, like the way it was structured, it kind of branches out farther than Latino. Like originally, right, it was written how you intended, Ed. But after it was written, it kind of branched out further because it's like all this shit applies to this stuff. And it's nice that Eduardo wrote a song about it because it's everybody. We all need to have conversations, hard conversations with our friends or now ex-friends about this shit, because it's like, it's not like some creepy guy in a trench coat. It's your homie. It's the guy you're grabbing beers with, sharing your most intimate thoughts with, who is just putting up a facade of being cool and then doing this like super horrible shit at the other times.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I took away from it, in addition to the, that household thing.
Yeah.
Well, like your take on it is very like not attacky and judgy. Like it's like, hey, this is like, well, like this is an issue, but like let's talk about it, make conversation on it, right?
Exactly.
To educate, right?
Like instead of like attacking the, like we just don't want it to like happen anymore. We're just like trying to prevent it from happening.
Yeah.
To like prevent it.
And as men, and not even necessarily just as men, but as men who aren't threatened by that type of violence, it's important for us to be calm in those situations and very clear and stern, because for someone not huge and not threatened, it's going to be a lot harder to keep your composure because that issue affects you directly. And can somehow we like the do you guys get where I'm going with this? Like I'm having trouble finding the words, but like it's an issue for everybody, but specifically for the people like Los Hombres who aren't affected by it. It's important for us to be the calm ones when talking to those people, rather than like the person who got PTSD from the issue.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we understand what you're trying to say. You put it better than I ever could. But yeah, that's the point of the song. As Billy said, just we need to be having those conversations instead of the people that have been abused, having conversations with them.
Yeah, like it really is a community conversation, not it's between y'all go figure it out. Like no, we're all connected in this. It's cool. That's actually really admirable, you guys. I appreciate that. Josies. So when it comes to like your inspirations, right? Obviously, like that was like a community thing that you're all involved in. But aside from that, are there other inspirations that you guys draw from, whether it's individuals or as like a band, right? Like you're like, hey, I really like this one, other DreamPop band, or I really like this like classic rock band, even though it's not our sound, I bring that in. Where I like this, filmmaker, and for some reason that makes me want to create art too. And do you guys draw anything else outside that, or is it all purely like community experience based?
If I could just introduce this real quick, I think that it's really important to recognize that you can create music in a specific genre while listening and being heavily inspired by different genres. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what happened to this entire experience. So if it's cool with you, each of us can go through and just name like one or two kind of inspirations behind our overall musical experience, because I feel like that's reflected in this album. Billy, you want to start?
Okay.
Oh, fuck me. No, not start. Like, give
Off
me a
the spot,
second.
Eduardo. You're like, hey, you go. It's like, yeah, go
No,
ahead.
pass to Elias. I'll defer for one moment.
I guess, I mean, for me, like, I'm definitely inspired by definitely like alternative music, specifically like stuff like around 2011, 2012, Lost the People, Group Love, all those bands, Monsters and Men. I'm also really inspired by Courtney Barnett. Shout out Courtney Barnett, dude, she's the homie. And then for the music video we're dropping next week with Corduroy, definitely have a lot of inspiration from the music video director. I don't know if you know Cole Bennett, but he does a lot of hip hop music videos. They're called Lemonade. So I definitely took some inspiration from him for this upcoming music video.
Mm-hmm.
You go, Eduardo.
Me? All right. So as I mentioned before, in 2017, that's kind of where I'm gonna be real with you, Chris. Like, I feel like I didn't have a musical like preference or just like enough experience in music to really know what's going on until 2017, right?
Okay.
So I was like listening to music at that point, and that's when I got introduced to like Custapperson and all that stuff. But I think what really hit me was this band called No Vacation. No Vacation was an SF-based band that like recently in the past few years moved to New York, but like just their music, their simplicity, and their use of like heavy reverb and stuff, I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's real cool. But also, I feel like I was inspired by other types of like Latin rock bands like Maná. That was really cool. Los Enanitos Verdes, stuff like that. That stuff was like something that I'd listen to. And I'd be like, hell yeah, we need more stuff like this. And although I don't doubt that more stuff like that does exist now, it's in our area, in our day and age, for people our age, it's just not as promoted. And because of that, I also brought that aspect. I was like, no, let's make music in Spanish and let's make it like alternative, like rock, indie. Let's just make something.
Yeah.
That's my inspiration.
That's cool, man. No, that's really cool.
Yeah, Brad.
I don't know. I guess I say like some of my favorite bands are kind of polar opposites if you think about it. I'm a really big fan of Weezer, mostly just because I think like simple songs I feel like are kind of the best, because you get to appreciate a lot more of like the musicality and like the lyrics that go into it. There's not a lot that gets like lost in translation like through like the complexity of the songwriting and stuff. Kind of has like a straightforward message. But then like my other favorite band is probably like the Mars Volta, which is like the complete opposite spectrum of that. It's like super complex, like really like complex songwriting, really like lyrics that probably don't really have any meaning other than like what the reader wants to like read into it. So I think like both of them kind of mix the where like I like simple song structures that like really like have a message, but I also kind of like stuff that like maybe isn't what you would expect from a simple song, like kind of leaves you like saying like, oh, I wasn't expecting this from this song. So I think that's what kind of pushes me in the direction of like at least another May and what we're creating.
What about you, Elias?
Well, this is one of the first bands I've played like keys for, synthesizers for, and I think the big thing that really inspires me as a synth player, right, is like the one thing that motivates me really is like creating. I feel like when there's a band, there's a 4-piece bass, drum, guitar, vocal, that's already one like unit, right? But I feel like as a synthesizer, yeah, you can bring in a lead part, whatever. But part of that is also creating like a whole nother atmosphere because you have your band right here, right? And you got all of these synth patches, all these swells, and all this stuff up on top. Okay. So I think a lot of bands that really kind of inspire me in that like field, I guess, is I really do like Radiohead, and I do really think that a lot of their synthesizer work on like Kid A, their more electronic album, kind of like captures a lot of that, and I think that's like really great. And I try to create obviously not the same vibe for this band because it's so depressing, but I think the importance of like creating an atmosphere through like a synthesizer, right, is something that I really are inspired by. But yeah, I would just say like Radiohead, and Shoot, I guess anything Tom York does.
Tom York in general.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
Yo, Brad. Tom York did a track with PJ Harvey. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean, cool story, bro.
Yeah. Really?
Make me go last. Worse than first, Eduardo. But yeah, I have no idea. Like everyone's saying, I'm going into this with just a totally blank mind. But the first thing that inspired me was people. Like the way the music's built, to me, I kind of heard it like it was built off the synthesizer. So just listening to like Elias's track was big enough to like inspire all these ideas. But then when Brad comes in, it's just its groove. It's like like you have to play something. And I really like, even though I didn't understand it at first because I'm real slow, eventually Brett's chords and songwriting started to make sense. And now I'm a huge fan of Brett's work, which I guess I wasn't able to see without like the magnifying glass. And then Eduardo on top of that, sorry, I'm looking at your screen. Eduardo on top of that, writing all these lyrics and writing all these guitar parts and doing like the most was so inspiring for me to just like do this stuff. But then on top of that, like you can talk about like person stuff, people stuff. People stuff is the music stuff. And not only are these four people super huge role models in my life for like how I should act as an adult, but also they're groups. Like Brett with his Paper House Records has introduced so many of my favorite groups to my life, like Small Crush, you know, and Brett's been in a bunch of great groups as well. Like I think I met him through a Peachy show, Elias's band. Brad has Conserve, and that was so funny. I got into Conserve after that Alexa bit on Paper House posting. And just working with all these guys is such a huge inspiration. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to name bands that aren't plugging everyone in this band, we had an album pool while we were doing this record. So every week while we were recording, we would send everyone else what we were listening to. All this DreamPop stuff, all this Mars Volta stuff, everything kind of comes together. And what is it? Oh, but the people I was really into while we were recording this, Cannonball Adderley, Bobby Timmons, Sam Jones, and just going through their discography. Ahmad Jamal, Miles Davis, just like really listening. And then seeing how do I bring that thing that I love into this thing that I love. And I did my best. I suck. Elias, Eduardo, Brad, and Brett taught me how to play guitar in the past couple months, like since January. But I really tried to bring all those influences together.
Well, honestly, I didn't really think, like, I knew, like, that's funny that you say that, the whole entire, who you were listening to throughout the recording, and, like, obviously you play jazz, right, and that's your lexicon. Anything that you play on any instrument is going to be a jazz, like, lick by any sort, right? But yeah, you definitely hear a lot of your guitar playing, it's obviously jazz-inspired, but it's great, yeah, you know, it only makes sense. You could go. You could totally go on like left field, just gone like straight up rock distorted, you know, pentatonic scale solo, right?
Billy,
yeah.
Billy, did you just play the lick right now?
No, what? How would I even do that?
Cool. Well, hey guys, I know I've been keeping you for like an hour at this point. I appreciate your patience, right? I appreciate you guys letting me interrogate you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. One last question, just before we head out, right? Obviously, you just released the self-titled album. I know you have another one in the works, but from here on out, this unforeseeable future with COVID, what can everyone expect from you guys from here on
out? Okay. Well, for starters, I think our short-term goals are we are about to push out our merchandise, and with that, we are selling merchandise boxes. And I just mentioned this because if people order a merchandise box and they live in the area, which is San Jose, Santa Cruz, or San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area, we just have a small surprise for them. And I don't know what it is, but yeah, it just has something to do with what you said. In regards to performances and stuff like that, there are plans being made. I can't reveal too much information, but just for things that'll be able to be taking place online, and that'll be a little bit different from the traditional just show that you can see. But it looks like it's just gonna have to be that until we have the opportunity to go outside safely, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have So we just dropped the EP yesterday. We also have 3 music videos coming for You Can Tell Me, Paros Los Hombres, and Marigolds. On top of that, Billy's planning something for us, but I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we can't talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Really forgot. But it's like,
But yeah, we're gonna try to do some live sessions coming up. Do like maybe an acoustic strip down one at first, and then once things get better with COVID, we'll do like a full band performance live session as well. So yeah, we're just gonna try to do with our content.
Yeah.
Before we go, Chris, is it okay if we ask you a few questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What's the best or what's the most interesting response you've gotten to one of the questions during your interviews?
Damn, that's a good one. Yeah, I gotta marinate that one, huh? Well, for time's sake, right? I think one of the like coolest ones I've had was, so there's a guy named Orangutan. He's a photographer that you can find on Instagram, and I just interviewed him like 2 weeks ago. And this guy to me is just like looks like a rock star. Like he's totally all about that. And I was asking him like, oh, like when did like you start like taking photography seriously? When you start getting paid and all that? And to me, like I really like origin stories, right? Hence why I have like questions. Oh, when did you start? What's the name, like the origin behind this, etc. And he was saying, oh yeah, like I pretty much wanted to be a photographer. I wanted to be a videographer. I wanted to be a content creator. And I got paid to do that and I hated it. I'm like, oh, what? Like, he's like, yeah, but it wasn't in the fact that like, everyone thinks, oh, you want to do your thing. Like, I want to be a musician. I'm playing that. But I'm realizing, oh, I'm with a company I don't like. And for some reason, for a while, I thought, oh, maybe it's just I'm not a photographer, right? But he knew it. He's like, oh, it's not that I don't want to photographer. This is still a bad environment for me. I need to go find out where I belong as a photographer. I was like, I keep saying photographer, but like he's just content creator in general. And that was cool. I'm like, damn, that's dope, right? But he was saying, but then he made the point like, oh yeah, I didn't actually start getting paid for my work until I was like almost 30. And to me, that's always dope because I think a lot of people think, especially as an artist, like you just start making money like at 20, 21, right? But you gotta realize, oh, this is a guy that's like super good, but he still has to go through the normal grind of building like a brand and a business. Mm-hmm. And now he's fucking solid, right? But still the point of the fact that like, oh, that's cool, it's for me, because now if I feel impatient or if I'm taking too long in my career, other people took longer, but they made it still. But the fact is they stay committed and focused, and by doing that, they became who they were, right? But when I saw that guy, I thought, oh, that's someone that just did it in like day one. It's like, oh, it's another reminder of be patient.
Yeah, it's like the thing where it's like, oh, like if you don't like be successful in the first years, or if you like been doing it for 5 years and not successful, it's like just give up. But like, I mean, there's like, I don't know, like Chuck Berry was like, I don't know, like 37 when he blew up.
Yeah, right.
And then like 2 Chainz was like 35 when he blew up. So you just gotta keep on that grind.
Yeah, like it seemed like Kendrick wasn't like 28, 29 until he became Kendrick. I think Samuel L. Jackson, like he's
old.
Yeah, and he started
like 70, dude.
Yeah, and like I think into like 40, 50 is when I think he blew up. Harrison Ford, same, like he was 60 or something. Probably not. The date's wrong. But it's a reminder of that. Oh, be patient. But it's like I've learned, treat your first few years. Don't worry about money. Just focus on like bettering your skill. But then slowly think about the money, because if you want to build a brand, you have to. But then start thinking, okay, let me get good at this, and let me start to build the business side around that, and I'll grow all together. But that's just entrepreneur. If you're a band or a business owner, that's being an entrepreneur in general, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I appreciate that.
And Chris, if I may ask you a question, what got you into doing podcasts? Like, yeah, this takes a lot of effort on your part outside of enjoying the music. Yeah, what's your motivation?
Yeah, no, good questions. So it's a couple things, right? So the core element of it is, I don't know if they still do it, but the New York Times, they used to have a section called the Corner Office. And essentially they would interview like CEOs or senior VPs of whatever company. And it was literally this. We're like, oh, cool. So like, how old are you when you actually started thinking about building a business? Like, what's your first earliest like memory of like leadership? And feel like, oh, when I was like 13, I saw my dad get yelled at by a customer. My dad told me if I yelled at him, I would have lost all respect for myself. It's like, what the fuck? And like, it teaches you patience and composure. Eduardo, I think you brought that up when you were talking about kind of the whole like song, right? But it's like, oh, that's cool. But it starts to think. And I love watching like artist interviews. Like, I think my favorite one's like, there's a Corey Taylor interview when he's at like Oxford. That's like a great interview, right? Where he's telling people, yeah, not everyone should be a musician because everyone's good at it. Well, I'm good at it, but it's a whole different conversation. Like, oh, that's like, that unlocks so many different ways of thinking, right? And for someone like him to tell other people that, it's like hypocritical. It's like, oh, he's being real with you. And then I've always found myself ending up in situations where I'm meeting like really famous people, CEOs of companies, and having these kind of conversations, which are cool for me. But like, I'll tell people about it, but no one. That's just a personal experience, right? I was like, oh, well, what if I can do something with that, right? And hence why I'm recording these now.
Right.
And so to me, it's like all that. And then me and Brett were talking about this before we were recording. It's like, I just learned I'm really good at conversing with people. A lot of people are, but it's like these kind of conversations. So if, okay, let me find something I like, find something I'm good at, and bring those together, and that will probably take me somewhere. So the podcast is like an experiment, but it's also like my focus for a little bit.
Ikigai.
What's that?
Oh, what you were just talking about. It's what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, what you can be paid for.
I appreciate
That's
it.
very inspiring what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I really like the New York Times kind of how you're making all these connections from music to interviews to writing to that's very cool.
Yeah,
Thanks
no,
for taking the time, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, Chris, I have a question. What's your favorite concert experience? Like of all time?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like. Can I just answer ones I've liked? But I don't know. Like,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. It's just system off.
So I think one of my like good experiences was I think the first like real like show I went to, like a house show. I don't know if you guys know a band called Rotting Out. Like a local band from San Pedro. Well, they're bigger. They're big now, but at the time they're a local band. I went to a show they were throwing. I don't think they played. It was my first like go to like an actual like hardcore metal show. And up to that point, I'd never actually been to one. Right, I just seen like YouTube videos, and to like be in a small garage, like really small, and just like even, like my first like mosh pit. Right, I think you're asking about that. And was like, oh, so this is what it's like being at a show. Like, this is fucking dope, but low key, it's scary. But this is a cool experience, right? There was that. There are a couple of experiences, but I think like one now that I'm talking, thinking as I go. Do you guys know who Immortal Technique is?
Oh, dude, I had an era like freshman year of high school where I just only listened to Modal Technique.
That's dope. So I got to meet him. So from my concert experience, right? There was like this, I forgot what it was called, like not Rise LA or something. It was some like thing where they brought a bunch of like different bands and like community activists and all these like different like mosh pits together. Not mosh, but like diversity of people. Me and my buddy were at the show. The show sucked. We weren't into it. And I'm like, let's just walk around. And we're just walking through random doors in this building, like a concert hall, which is technically you're trespassing. But like, fuck it. We'll just, we didn't know what we were doing. We're looking for the bathroom. And somehow we ended up in like the press room and they were interviewing all the artists and like they had big artists there and Mortal Technique was there. And so I got in line to interview him. I'm wearing like a tank top. I'm like, I'm actually, I work for my school newspaper. I have a little badge. I'm like, I'm actually with the El Camino newspaper. It's just a student thing. Like, go ahead, man. And I was literally like the next person to interview him. And right when my turn came up, he's like, hey man, I have to go. I can't do interviews anymore. I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it, whatever. I was like so desperate, like I want to get a picture or something. And I followed him out with like the whole, now at this point, just the crowd, right? And you could tell this guy did not want to take pictures with anyone. Like, hey, I have to go. I can't be here. And I'm like, at the time, like, well, you're the artist, supposed to do that, right? But then I realized how annoying the people were, right? And like, he's like very clear, like doesn't want to be there. And people are like stopping him. He's like, hey man, I can't. Some guy's like, let me rap for you. He's like, I don't want to hear that. And the guy just starts rapping anyways. And I was like, you know what? this guy's still another person at the end of the day. That's not cool what we're doing. And like that totally like not dehumanized, that was humanized everyone. There we go. So now when I talk to like artists and like CEOs and stuff, I realize, oh, these are the people, right? But that came from that experience. Like that made me realize, oh, I still like this guy as an artist. But even when he said, maybe you know, it's Brett, when he says like, I'm just a man, don't follow me. I'm like, oh, that's true. He is just another man, right? Or person.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I know I have a long answer. I talk a lot. That's why I try to focus.
That's
on
cool. We like listening.
No, we like it. We like it.
Yo. Any other ones, or am I good to wrap up? No.
Brad, you have one.
No,
Elias.
by the way, I'm totally.
Oh, you asked your. I was gonna ask your question, Brett.
Yeah, no, yeah, you guys pretty much covered what I was gonna ask.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I do appreciate the questions. I actually have to create a video why I'm doing KDigitals that I'm totally procrastinating on. But that said, thank you guys for taking the time to join me today. I'll go and let you guys go to get back to your weekend. I know it's early on a Saturday. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Hey, shout out to Corduroy, California. Shout out to all the artists in San Jose. Shout out to Chris Aguilar right here. Chris Aguilar is the best. Shout out to the whole music scene. Shout out to everybody in the world. Shout out Anthony Fantano. Please review our EP. Shout out everybody. Free KK, free Bobby Shmurda. Everybody.
Yeah, free Bobby Shmurda. Don't free TK though. Don't free TK.
Oh.
TK, he murdered people.
R.I.P. Betty White.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Shout out Frank.
Shout out Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, later,
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
Ciao.
bye.
See you.